following is a production of Cary TV, the Town of Cary's government access channel.
Good evening and welcome to the Town of Cary Planning and Zoning Board meeting. Thank you for joining us tonight. I call this meeting to order. All board members, staff, and applicants are participating in Cary's council chambers this evening. Our board clerk, Jessica Stanford, will take roll call for us this evening.
The following board members are not able to join us this evening. Don Hamilton. For the rest of you, when I call your name, please state that you are present or here. Jessica McClure,
Present.
John Sorrell,
Present.
Mike Roselli,
Present.
Jessica Pearson,
Present.
Stephen Crutchfield,
Present.
Mary Jo Hill,
Present.
Jeff Moncrief,
Present.
and Andy Coe.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you. The Cary Community Plan will continue to be the guiding document for this board. Our role is to function as citizen advisors to the town council, who will make the final decision on all rezoning activity. Your citizen opinions based on the community plan document are very important in advising our town leaders. While this is a public meeting, please be aware it is not a public hearing. There is no opportunity for the public to speak during this meeting. If you do have comments about any of the cases from this evening, we encourage you to reach out to town staff, the case manager, or the applicant by email or phone. You may reach out to our board members through email. You may also contact the council directly through email or during the public speaks out portion of any regularly scheduled town council meeting. During this meeting, I will call on each board member individually to confirm their votes. All motions, seconds, and the votes will be verbally obtained. These meetings may be streamed live on the Town of Cary website and on YouTube where applicable, and you may also be able to find past meetings there. The next item on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. Unless anyone has any changes to propose, would someone please make a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll make a motion to adopt.
And would someone second?
Second.
Thank you. We'll start down with Jessica McClure. Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
And that is adopted unanimously. The next item is approval of the regular meeting minutes from the April 25th session. Unless there are any changes or adoptions, would someone like to make a motion to adopt the April 25th meeting minutes?
I make a motion to adopt the April 25th meeting minutes.
And would someone second?
Second.
Thank you, Jeff. Having said that we have an adoption in a second, we'll now do a roll call. We'll start with Andy.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The only case we have on the agenda this evening is 21 REZ 14, 9518, 9520 Chapel Hill Road rezoning. Heather Wheelahan, our senior housing planner, will share the staff's presentation. Following the presentation, the applicant will share their remarks. All board members will have an opportunity to ask questions of staff and applicant. You may proceed. And by the way, is this your first time here?
This is my first time here in person with you all, yes. Good evening.
That's right, you were on a Zoom call.
That's right.
Okay, well, we're glad to see you and we welcome.
Nice to meet you all in person.
Okay,
So
thank
I'm
you.
happy to be here tonight, Mr. Chair and board members, to present 21 REZ 14, a request to rezone 5.85 acres at 9518 and 9520 Chapel Hill Road. These properties are along Chapel Hill Road, just east of the Morrisville-Cary municipal border. Cary corporate limits are shown here, shaded in blue. Cary's GIS maps indicate a small portion of the site's northeastern property boundary that it abuts a potential stream buffer. Determination will be made at the time of development plan review. There are two existing Wilson Road segments to the north and the south of this site, shown here in green. The development of these properties requires the applicant to complete the unfinished portion of Wilson Road traversing the site. Completion of this segment will connect Wilson Road from Chapel Hill Road to North Cary Parkway. Two transit routes currently serve Chapel Hill Road adjacent to the property. Chapel Hill Road is also currently being studied as the potential bus rapid corridor between downtown Cary and Research Triangle Park. The Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Resources Master Plan does not identify any proposed parks within or immediately adjacent to the site. Robert Godbold Park is the nearest existing park, and that's located about a mile to the east. There aren't any proposed greenway corridors within the site. However, the Chapel Hill Road street side trail will be constructed as a part of the development plan process. Both properties are currently zoned R40, residential 40. And the applicant is proposing to rezone to TRCU, Transitional Residential Conditional Use. The applicant has offered several conditions. These include limiting the uses to townhouses and neighborhood recreation, limiting the units to a maximum of 32 or just under 6 units per acre, providing a minimum of 3,700 square feet of community gathering space, which is more than triple the LDO requirement, providing 2-car wide garages for each unit, providing EV charging station 60 amp receptacles in each garage, providing a 30-foot type A streetscape along Wilson Road, offering that no townhome will be constructed within the 50 feet of the northern property line, and offering a condition to salvage wood paneling, interior doors, and some basement beams. Live, work, shape, move, and engage policies of the Imagine Cary Community Plan are most relevant to this request. The proposal supports LIVE policies by expanding housing choices for residents and supporting residential development on infill sites. The proposal also supports the work chapter by providing housing options to support a sustainable and diverse workforce. And in terms of the shape chapter, the rezoning proposes infill development on an underperforming site along the Chapel Hill Road corridor and incorporates appropriate transitions to the adjacent neighborhoods and commercial uses. This proposal also supports the MOVE chapter, as the development of these properties will facilitate the completion of Wilson Road, which helps ensure safety and a well-maintained road network. The site currently contains 2 houses, both of which were originally constructed in the early 1900s. Cary's Historic Preservation staff coordinated a site visit with Capital Area Preservation to assess the houses. CAP found that the houses possess little historic integrity and therefore are not a preservation priority. However, CAP did recommend salvaging some original elements from 9520 Chapel Hill Road, that's the yellow house on the left, and CAP noted the original interior doors, wood paneling, and support beams as potentially valuable for reuse. Since the public hearing, the applicant has added a condition to salvage these materials. This condition helps support Cary's historic preservation goals. This proposal also supports the SERVE chapter by including conditions to provide EV charging receptacles throughout, and a 30-foot streetscape along Wilson Road. The Future Growth Framework map designates the site as within the traditional neighborhood development category. Traditional neighborhoods include moderate amounts of housing types, including large and small unit detached dwellings, townhomes, and multifamily. Transitional residential is one district within the Cary Community Plan lists as potentially appropriate, and notes that properties considered for infill or redevelopment may include higher density uses. Staff facilitated a virtual neighborhood meeting in November. 18 citizens attended. Comments included concern for increased traffic on Wilson Road, a request that the applicant consider detached dwellings, and questions about parking requirements. Staff has received one call and one email about the request, and both comments were regarding required street connections. Town Council had a public hearing for the request in March. There were 4 written comments. Citizens expressed concern for potential future connection to Sunrise Road, increased traffic on Wilson Road, difficulty turning left onto Chapel Hill Road, and availability of guest parking. One speaker, who identified himself as the property owner, noted that no current connection to Sunrise Road is required with this development. Council also had a few comments and questions. They noted that the 2-car garage condition is positive. They commented that including a condition to provide EV charging stations would be a beneficial addition, as would a condition to salvage the materials identified by CAP. Council wanted to confirm that there is already existing vehicular connection from Chapel Hill Road to Cary Parkway, and that is the case, but circuitously through the Wilson Place neighborhood. So the Wilson Road connection would facilitate that in a more direct way. Council also asked about the ultimate plan width and design of Chapel Hill Road. Chapel Hill Road is 130-foot right-of-way, and this development would widen Chapel Hill to that width. The ultimate design of Chapel Hill is still being studied, so it's likely that there wouldn't be 6 vehicular travel lanes, but perhaps a different cross-section. Council also questioned about the potential for pedestrian crossings along Chapel Hill Road. This is a stretch of road where there's not a continuous pedestrian network, so that would make pedestrian crossings potentially difficult, but we began a conversation with our transportation staff to explore where those could be safe and feasible at this point, while we're kind of awaiting that ongoing redevelopment of those remaining parcels along Chapel Hill. Council also wanted to confirm that the driveway setbacks for the townhomes would be outside of the right-of-way, and that is the case. If the driveways are in front of the townhomes, there's an 18-foot setback requirement, and the right-of-way would contain the sidewalk above and beyond that. Council also wanted to confirm that the buffers would be outside of any utility easements, and that is the case. Since the public hearing, the applicant has made several changes, 2 changes. One, they offered a condition to salvage the wood paneling, as I mentioned, interior doors and basement beams from 9520 Chapel Hill Road. And they also offered that condition to provide the EV charging stations in each, receptacles in each garage. Staff's preliminary finding is for consistency with the Imagine Cary Community Plan. We found that the request supports live, work, engage, shape, move, and serve chapters of the plan by providing a unique housing type in this area, townhomes, providing infill development in a traditional neighborhood near employment, shopping, schools, and on an underperforming site, this major corridor of Chapel Hill Road. Also incorporating appropriate transitions between uses and facilitating planned road connections. In evaluating this request, the board may wish to consider a number of questions, such as whether the proposed uses and density are appropriate at this location, and whether the proposed zoning provides for appropriate transitions. That concludes my presentation. At this time, I'd like to invite Shashi Bhatta here to speak on behalf of the applicant. And after Ms. Bhatta's presentation or comments, I'll be available for questions. Ms. Bhatta.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the Planning and Zoning Board. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. Glenda Top could not be here tonight, so I am here on her behalf. My name is Sashi Bata, and I am a part owner of the property. Staff did an excellent job explaining the proposed rezoning. I will touch on several key items. The current zoning is R40 and the proposed rezoning is TRCU. There is a maximum of 32 townhomes planned for a density of 5.5 dwelling units per acre. This part of Cary has seen an increase in infill development over the last number of years. This new development has included both townhouses and single-family homes. The proposed infill development is designed to complement the surrounding properties and help Cary capitalize on the existing public infrastructure and reduce the need for costly capital improvements. The character, quality, and intensity of the proposed development is appropriate at this location. If approved, the planned development will enhance connectivity in the area. The developer will be responsible for building a section of Chapel Hill Road. The development will comply with the town's transportation plans for this part of Cary. The proposed rezoning will provide new infill development in a desired corridor. We have offered 8 zoning conditions. Staff went over them with you, so I will only touch on a few. The residents were concerned about visitor parking, so in addition to the required visitor parking, we added a condition stating that each unit will have a 2-car garage. We have agreed to a 30-foot wide Type A streetscape adjacent to Wilson Road outside of any power easement. There was also a concern about the distance of townhomes along the northern property line. To accommodate the concern, we added a condition that no townhouse units shall be closer than 50 feet from the northern property line. Staff also asked us to look at the house located at 9520 Chapel Hill Road with capital area preservation. We met on site and agreed to their request to salvage certain parts of the house. To be proactive to those having electric vehicles, each unit shall include a 60-amp receptacle in garage for connection of electric vehicle charging equipment. In your staff report, staff outlines the policies we comply with in the City Cary Community Plan. We are providing more housing choices for residents. The Cary Community Plan specifically mentions the importance of supporting the revitalization of targeted redevelopment corridors in older portions of town where conditions have changed over time. The redevelopment of major corridors offer new opportunities for economic investment and for improving the overall image of Cary. The planned development will continue to help with the revitalization of this corridor. This is especially important since this is a major gateway into the town of Cary. This property is also considered infill, and the use proposed is compatible with the surrounding uses. We are offering additional community gathering space for the community. We are offering more than 3 times the required area. Under the work section of the Cary Community Plan, it talks about growing a sustainable and diversifying workforce. This rezoning supports this policy. We also comply with specific move and serve policies that's pointed out by the staff. The site is located in the traditional neighborhood development category on the growth framework map of the Cary Community Plan. This category allows for a moderate housing mix. We strongly believe that the proposed rezoning complies with the Cary Community Plan. All council questions were answered satisfactorily. Several of the questions included, will the townhouse driveway lengths be long enough to support a 2-car driveway and sidewalk? Staff confirmed that the required 18 feet setback would accommodate the length of 1 car and the driveways would not encroach on the sidewalk. Another question was, will the landscape buffer be outside of the power line easements? Staff confirmed that the required buffers will be provided on both Wilson Road and Chapel Hill Road outside of any power easements. The board is asked to determine if the proposed rezoning is consistent with the Imagined Cary Community Plan. We believe that the answer to this question is yes. We ask for this board's recommendation of approval. Thank you very much, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now is the time for the board to ask any questions to staff and the applicant. And Andy, can we start with you?
Yeah, I mean, I've done a comprehensive review, and with the staff's comprehensive review, I think with the additional conditions that have been addressed, I don't have any specific questions. It was a very thorough job. Thank you.
Jeff?
Yeah, no further questions. I think it's pretty straightforward.
Mary Jo?
I agree. I think it was a good, complete presentation that gave us an overview of the plan, and I support it.
Yeah, I have a couple questions. So around the applicant's condition to salvage certain original interior parts of the house, how will that zoning condition be enforced?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we worked with CAP to come up, and our historic preservation planner here at the town of Cary to come up with some language that made sense.
Okay.
We're going to ask the applicant for an affidavit certifying that they had those materials salvaged by a party that's experienced in that particular deconstruction and salvage of historic and reuse of materials, and they'll do that before they can get a demo permit.
Okay, and so the salvaged materials will not necessarily be used in the new development?
No.
But, okay, but it will be salvaged for some reuse?
That's right. And
by
we won't
someone.
know the end use, but we'll know that we're going to trust that that agent who's experienced and recommended by Capital Area Preservation is going to see that those materials are reused,
Okay.
with that intention in mind.
Yeah, that's great. I'm all in favor of reusing buildings. And then you mentioned Sunrise Road in the application. I'm not familiar with where it is. Could you point that out, please?
Yeah, let me show you where that is. Thanks, Katie.
And is it a public road?
There's a section of it that's public, and then, let me find a map that I can show you. Zoom out a little bit. Okay, this will work. Let me find my cursor. So Sunrise Road is just to the east, and if you,
Okay,
it's not
so it
labeled,
comes
but if you trace up Fairbanks, and then you were to turn left or turn west into the toward the property.
Okay.
So there's the initial stretch of that, a few parcels deep, is public road, and then it becomes a private easement, and then it dead ends into private property. So in the event that that private property is developed in the future, that could connect into this property. So at the time of development, there'll be a stub required on this property for potential future connection, but that's private property at this time directly to the east, so
Okay.
that connection won't be made.
That's awesome. That's kind of what I was wondering about. And then my final question is, several years ago, the town of Cary made a presentation to our board about updates to street standards specifically for townhouses. And I just wanted to confirm that those new standards do apply in this particular case.
That's correct, they
Okay.
do, yes.
Okay, wonderful. Thank
Yeah.
you for answering all my
Sure,
questions.
thank you.
My only question was Sunrise Road, and that's answered now. Thank you.
Good question, yeah.
Sorry I took all the questions.
That's great. That's good. Mike?
No questions.
Jessica?
Jessica got mine as well, so thanks. Just covering it for everybody.
Okay.
And I just have one question. On Wilson Road, that was always slated to be developed regardless of who came in here. But that was going to be a requirement regardless of the type of zoning that was requested.
That's right.
And then Wilson Road will have a sidewalk. I know we talked about it by this development, but the sidewalk goes all the way up Wilson Road now, or no?
It does. So this Wilson Road will be constructed to the same cross-section that northern half of Wilson Road is, and there is a sidewalk. I can't recall if it's on both sides or just one, but, thank you.
Just one?
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
But there is a sidewalk on Wilson Road, and that would continue throughout
Okay.
this section, yes.
And then I know you already said this, but I just want to make sure I have it really straight because I know there's a lot of questions on this. So you're going to have a two-car garage. Behind the garage, you'll be able to put 2 more cars on the driveway. Then you're going to have the sidewalk. Then you're going to have a small easement. Then you're going to have the street.
Yes.
So theoretically, each unit could have 4 vehicles.
Yes.
You know, the way things are now, one garage will have stuff in it, then you'll have, you know.
That's right.
So,
That's the
and,
impetus
you know,
for
and
the-
parking, and I know why everybody asks questions about visitor parking, because it becomes difficult in these type developments. So that's a good thing that they're gonna have the 2 behind it. Okay, that's the only questions I have as well.
Okay.
Did any other board member have any other thoughts or questions? Okay, thank you, Heather. All right, having said that, barring any other discussion, would someone like to make a motion for 21 REZ 14, 9518, 9520 Chapel Hill Road rezoning? And I think we all have our little,
Sure,
sheet here.
I'll make a motion.
thank you.
I move that the board finds case number 21 REZ 14 is consistent with the comprehensive plan and all other applicable plans for the reasons set forth in the staff report, presentation, and discussion by the Planning and Zoning Board.
Thank you. Would someone like to second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Since you made the motion.
Sure. So I think the use is consistent just based on the framework and that it is part of the traditional neighborhood. And I know that the town of Cary really could use additional townhomes, so I think that, I think it's an appropriate use. I also appreciate the responsiveness of the applicant to update their conditions as a part of public comment and comments by the town council. There's a whole series of chapters from our community plan that are met, the policies are met by this rezoning request. So some of those are, you know, the proposed housing type is not common in the town of Cary, and townhomes only comprise 16% of dwellings within the town of Cary. It provides infill development on an underutilized site. It also helps support the need for a diverse workforce. I also appreciate the salvage of materials, so these are all the reasons why I think we should recommend that it's consistent with the comprehensive plan.
Thank you. Jessica McClure, was that you that seconded?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Any comments?
I think Jessica summed it up pretty nicely. I think it's a good use, it's a good transition, it'll help get the roadway network connected and, you know, hopefully some more pedestrian connections through there, so.
Excellent. And any other board member have any additional comments before we vote? So I'm not detecting that.
No.
Okay. All right, well, having said that, we'll now vote on 21 REZ 14. And Andy, we'll start with you. Yay or nay?
Yay.
I vote yay.
I vote yea as well.
Yay?
Yay.
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 And I vote yay as well, so it carries unanimously. The only other business that's not really on the agenda, it's a statement. As the summer season comes up, if you find that you're not going to be able to attend a board meeting, let our clerk know, and so we can plan appropriately. I know they ask every month, but it's always like that where everybody's busy. And I think there's a lot of saved up people wanting to get out of their houses now, so I anticipate a lot of people will be going places. Any other comments or thoughts for anything else before we end? Okay, having said that, thank you for participating in tonight's meeting, and it will now be adjourned.
This has been a production of Cary TV. Visit the Town of Cary's website at townofcary.org.
Let you know if we have any questions.